Let's get right into it, because honestly, I think this is like one of the biggest hidden problems in the pet industry right now. A lot of pet businesses, they are probably getting people to their website, right? They're getting discovered, but the website itself, that's not often helping to turn those people that visit the website into actual booked appointments. And the scary part is that a lot of businesses, they don't even realize how much trust and momentum they're losing online, and they don't know what to do about it. So today's going to be more workshop than webinar, I think. Feel free to pull up your website, drop some questions in the chat, take some notes, steal some ideas. I'm going to tear down some real examples. We're going to look at what's working, what's not working, what's causing friction. And then we're going to talk about how modern pet parents really make decisions online right now and how that translates to your website. So it's going to be awesome, and I think some of you guys might realize your website's making life a little bit harder than it needs to be, and I promise that is a good thing. That is why we are here. So, a little bit of context here. At Pet Engine Marketing, we work exclusively with pet businesses. That's your groomers, your retailers, daycares, boarders, trainers, sitters, walkers, brands. Mogo, they do more of the operational side of this every single day, right? Booking flows and scheduling, customer communication, operational friction. So today's really that intersection of customer behavior and marketing and websites and trust, and then operations and how it actually turns into real revenue for you guys. So I'm super excited to dig into it. Do have a quick poll here.
We
What kind
do.
of
Let
business you
me.
guys are running? Ivy's about to pull that up and would love it if you could participate. Because this is actually important, right? It's important for us to know because one, we have expectations, and I want to be able to tailor kind of what we're talking about today for everybody in here. So give it a shot. How we looking on the polls?
We're really close. We have 64% of participation.
64%. Come on, guys. Oh, fair enough. Gina says none pet sitting, she can't vote. So fair. That's on us. That's on us. You're still using Mogo. We're thinking about using Mogo. That's cool. Or maybe you just want to learn, how to improve the website. That's cool too.
Let me end the poll so that you can check out the results, Matt.
Cool. Let's see. Let's see what we got in here. Okay, so we have 22% mobile groomers, 56% salon or shop owners, another 22% in daycare or boarding, and then I know we have at least one pet sitter and possibly walker. So awesome. No multi-location operators, and honestly, that is okay with me because once you get to that kind of multi-location operation, um, usually you've got a bit of these problems already solved, so that's a really good thing. So before we dig in, I want to ask everybody, what is one thing you hope to take back to your business from this webinar? Please drop these answers in the chat. This is also super important to me because I want to make sure that I can deliver it if possible. So what is one thing you hope to take back to your business from this webinar? There we go. We got Adrian chiming in. More booked appointments. Fantastic. That is what all of us want, I think. More customer interactive for the website. Right on. I think we can definitely achieve that. Adrian, we're definitely going to achieve that as well. That is the entire goal today. Who else wants to give it a shot? What is one thing that you want to take back to your business from this webinar? Redoing the website. Rebecca says, I'm actually redoing my website currently, so just want to see if there's something specific I should add that I don't already have and get more online bookings. Awesome. So guys, we're all aligned right now, right? We all want more online bookings. Shanna says she's a new business and want to make sure we're starting off on the right foot. Love that. That is a really good idea as well. Awesome. Well, let's jump right into it. So here's what I've noticed is most pet websites, they're not necessarily broken, right? And that means, they load, right? They might look fine, they exist, they show their services, but they function a little bit more like brochures rather than what I would call a conversion system. So they are designed to be kind of looked at, and that is very different from a website that is designed to move someone emotionally toward trust and then action. So those are two really different things. So we're going to try and take you from A to B here. A is the before, right? This is the brochure. A brochure basically says, this is who we are, right? That's kind of it. Like I said, it looks nice, it lists your services. It's got a lot of static information, and you measure success by total website visitors, basically. A conversion system says, here's why you should trust us, and here's exactly what to do next. And those are super different customer experiences. The reason this is important is because if you have website visitors that don't book appointments, you're just paying a lot of money for them to be there and do nothing for your business, right? So you can run ads, you can show up higher on Google, you can post on social media, you can try and get referrals. But if the experience, once they get onto that website, creates some hesitation, you're leaking that opportunity constantly. And for a lot of pet business owners, that leakage is invisible. It doesn't have to be. I'm going to show you some ways to see what people are actually doing on your website, find the problems, and fix them quickly and easily. Because here's the important part. And honestly, this matters more than ever because it's not just the websites that have changed, it's the customer that's changed. Modern pet parents behave completely differently than they did 5, 10, certainly 15, 20 years ago, right? Expectations have changed, buying behaviors changed, the trust building process has changed. And a lot of longstanding pet business websites, they never really adapted and shifted to this change in customer behavior. So that's the biggest shift beneath all of this. Reason being is that today's customers are comparing every single digital experience they have against those that are like the very, very top of the line, right? We're talking about Amazon, talking about Uber, DoorDash, Venmo, tap to pay, instant confirmation, text messaging. Basically, convenience has become this baseline expectation. And whether we like it or not, those expectations, they carry into pet services too. Today's expectations shifted and adapted much faster than most pet business websites and even the technology that holds them up. So let's talk a little bit about today's customer, right? Younger pet parents are, I'm one of them, I'm a millennial, right? We're increasingly setting the expectation standard. I'm informing you guys, I'm 35, so if I say we, I just mean like we are millennials, right? We are currently the top pet owning generation, making up roughly 35 to 45% of all US pet owners. Almost 3/4 of us, 3 out of every 4 millennials are pet parents. So this is like the biggest shift I think that we've seen over the past 5 to 10 years is that people don't like calmly research your business at a desktop computer anymore. They're booking during the rest of life, right? It's in the middle of everything else. They're multitasking, they are watching TV, they're scrolling at night, they're booking from the parking lot, lunch breaks, they're ignoring text messages from their dentist. Half the internet is trying to distract us and sell us things that we don't need or that we just looked up on a search engine, whether that's couches or, protein powder or supplements, and we're just trying to book a spot with our groomer. So we're distracted, we're a little bit overwhelmed, right? We are trying to do way too much all at once, and there's always a lot going on, and it seems like it's always stacking up. This doesn't make them bad customers, right? They're not lazy, right? That's just the environment that people are operating inside of right now. That's the reality, right? So your website and your booking process, it either reduces stress or it adds to it, Today's customers, they don't want to call you, they don't want to fill out a form, they don't want to send an email and wait 2 days to hear back from you. They don't feel like they have time for it. So with Americans spending, generally, I think it's like 1/3 of Americans, this is the stat that I saw, 1/3 of Americans are spending more money on their pet's health than their own, right? People are already stressed enough. The last thing that they want is friction around their pet's health. So we can't contribute to that. We have to make it super duper easy for them. And for me, this is probably the biggest idea in the webinar. We're going to get into the weeds a little bit. I'm going to tell you some tactics, share some things, but the biggest idea for me is that convenience has become part of trust. So a clunky booking flow feels unprofessional, it feels untrustworthy, even if your actual service is amazing. Modern customers are not separating your website experience, your booking experience, your operational experience from your service quality. It all blends together emotionally for them, right? They're constantly worried about their pet's happiness. And that changes how you present yourself, how reassurance and trust shows up online. Your service, every touch point with your business is connected with that pet's happiness. So there's great responsibility there, really. And you guys know some of this stuff as well, right? I think everybody in the industry knows that today's customers treat pets like family, right? This is an emotional connection that continues to get stronger, not weaker. Most younger pet parents don't view pets very casually. For a lot of people, they are family. Some of them view their pets like children, right? And so that changes how trust works, right? It means that these pet parents, they evaluate things emotionally rather than rationally or logically. They also compare options really quickly. They move loyalty very quickly as well. One frustrating experience and they're already halfway out the door. Because again, what's at stake for them is their pet's health and happiness. And for some of them, that is everything, right? That's like their children's happiness. So this is how modern pet parents actually choose now. And this is important too because your website's it's no longer that first point of the trust building process. It's certainly involved. It's a big piece of it, but it's more there to like confirm the trust that people are already trying to build. So the modern pet parent is starting on Google or AI or Maps. They absolutely obsess over reviews. They check local Reddit threads. They find mentions in Facebook groups or on Nextdoor. So they're trying to validate if the reviews are real, if you guys do good work, right? And by the time they finally reach your website, they're usually not asking things like, what services do you offer? They are asking internally, do I feel confident enough to trust you with a pet that I care extremely deeply about, that is the most important thing in my world? So when someone finally lands on the website, they absolutely don't want friction. They don't want uncertainty. They don't want to call 3 times. They don't want the form. They want reassurance. They want clarity. They want convenience and speed and confidence. And if they get that, they're going to book. And if they don't, they leave and they move to the next option. So here's the current reality, right? People are not separating the quality of your website from the quality of your service anymore. So if the website feels chaotic, they assume the experience is too. You used to be able to use, a Facebook page as a website, but you simply can't anymore, right? There are pet parents out there that have never had a Facebook account, or they deleted their account and can't access that page without an account. So if the booking flow feels difficult, they assume communication is going to be difficult, and fair or unfair, that's how pet parents process the idea of trust now. So most businesses were built, they built their websites for like maybe a calmer, slower customer than the millennials that are trying to book services today, right? So with all of that context in mind about who we are primarily serving, these are really the 4 levers that we're trying to step on and improve when it comes to the website. So we've got trust, we've got clarity, we've got speed, and we have convenience. The websites that turn more visitors into bookings, they do these things really, really well. And as we dig into some of these examples, I'm going to be relying on these 4 levers over and over again as grading criteria. For those of you guys that don't know me, I am Matt Aldrich, founder of Pet Engine Marketing. I'm also the co-founder of the Pet Industry Network. The Pet Industry Network is a collaborative group of service providers dedicated to helping pet businesses grow and succeed. I've spent, over a decade working with just pet businesses across the industry. One of my biggest learnings is that most pet businesses and their owners, they are incredible, right? The level of care that they provide is fantastic. The relationships are deeply personal. The desire to help people and pets is completely genuine. The issue is rarely within the business itself. The issue is more often than not, it's in the distance between how great that real world experience is and how clearly that translates to their online presence. And that gap has just like continued to widen as customer expectations evolved and other businesses really raised that floor, right? So one of the things that I've found is, your website might actually be underselling how good your business really is. So that's the opportunity at stake here, right? If we can get your website, get your booking process to be as awesome as the quality of your service that I know that you guys provide, that is our goal. So let's talk about trust first. So trust is built way before the person really actually reaches that booking form, right? People tend to decide, how they feel about your business within 3 seconds. And once they start feeling uncertain, they don't convert, they don't become a customer. So here's the first trust gatekeeper, right? This is the search engine. So local pet parents, your prospects, they are jumping onto Google or their favorite AI platform, and they are looking for a groomer near them. And Google is basically trying to answer one question: who is the most trusted and relevant option nearby? So they're going to look at reviews. Google's going to look at how close this business is to you and if those services match what you're looking for. At its core, that is how you rank on Google, right? Quality services, matching what the searcher is looking for, you're close to that searcher, and you have really good reviews. Other people would vouch for you. Now, when it comes to AI, getting mentioned on something like ChatGPT or Claude is going to require a little bit more than just those things. They certainly take into consideration reviews, but they also take into consideration, as you can see, local community mentions or sentiment. So that might be local news, it could be Facebook groups, it could be Nextdoor, it could be Reddit. They are looking for consistency in platforms across multiple different places. So Google, Yelp, social media websites, other online listings. So they're really looking for somebody that shows up in a lot of different places and has positive sentiment. So in order for customers to trust you, these search engines and these AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude, they have to trust you too, because that is the first gatekeeper. Without that trust, you don't get seen. Without getting seen, you don't get business. Search engine optimization, or SEO, which is basically helping your business show up higher on Google, is really all about increasing visibility, because visibility is like that very first thing that you need for growth.
And I wanted to chime in as well to show some software features and tools that can help our webinar attendees create a smoother booking experience and build that trust and credibility that Matt was talking about. Like Matt said, pet parents are online. They're looking through these nearby pet businesses and they're filtering through them before they check out your website. So with Mogo's integration with Google, you'll have that book online button so that pet business or pet parents can easily book with you on directly on your Google business profile. And if you're looking for more reviews to help boost attention and credibility for your business, we have our Mogo Review Booster feature, so that automatically sends out a text to customers who just had an appointment with you to write a review.
Pretty straightforward. I've seen it work in action, so it's pretty cool technology. But I want to head over to this fictional salon website, right? Let's say person found you on Google, they clicked on the website, so they come to your website, right? Here's a quick exercise. Where does the eye land first? And I kind of cheated. I didn't let you guys answer. Maybe that's on me. I circled it. Unfortunately, it's landing on like that very top left thing. People tend to read, largest to smallest, top to bottom, left to right. Um, if you don't own this particular real estate, if you don't absolutely maximize what is happening at this stage on the website, you're absolutely losing opportunities, right? Because again, that first 3-second test, it's got to answer things like who this is for, why I should trust you, what I should do next. And if it just says, like, welcome to our salon, that tells me almost nothing, right? And if your booking button is, it's hidden in the navigation, like it's in witness protection program or something, that absolutely needs to change as well. You have to make it super easy for these customers, right? You have to make it available, convenient, quick, and just guide them along this path. So I want you guys to do a quick exercise for me, right? Please open your homepage on your phone. Okay, it's got to be mobile. Seriously, please do this. Just dump into the chat. What are the first 5 words that you see? Because this exercise alone usually exposes a lot. So what are the first 5 words you see? I'll even do it myself. I'm pulling up my website right now. Luxury dog grooming and spa. I like it. That's pretty straightforward. I like straightforward. It's definitely better than welcome to our spa or welcome to our dog grooming spa. These are my 5 words. Dog and cat grooming fear-free salon. Award-winning pet boarding. Okay, we got some experts. We got some experts in here. These are great answers. These are awesome. Hopefully these are not like the only thing that you can see. My business name first. We've got feel confident in the best for your pet's well-being. Hector, I'm very curious about what you do. Book your groom. Awesome. So yeah, like I said, sounds like we've got some great websites in here, and we can just zoom past this part, which is awesome. Okay, so here's the trust stack. And these are all kind of like elements that you guys can have across your website, but primarily on your homepage because that homepage is where most people are landing. Now, the thing is, trust compounds, right? It stacks on itself, and nobody becomes a customer because of just they are, as we agreed, they are trying to validate your business in a variety of different places, right? It's the reviews on Google, it's the Reddit threads, it is the local groups. But once they reach your website, you have to continue to build on that trust. So that means real photos, specific details about your services, as well as the people that you've worked with. I think very clear messaging, which you guys have provided really good examples of. Award-winning pet boarding, I love that. Dog and cat grooming, fear-free salon, I love that too. Make sure that there is at least some pricing on the website. I think, based on the testing that we've done, having no pricing versus even ballpark pricing or price ranges makes a huge difference in the ability to turn website visitors into customers. You absolutely have to give them a clear process and clear expectations, right? So maybe it's a 1, 2, 3 step, or you book here, you receive a confirmation, you come 15 minutes early, and we text you when dog is done. Whatever it is, you have to let them know what to expect so that they know and feel reassured that the next step is already laid out, right? We absolutely don't want friction, we don't want chaos, we don't want clunkiness, anything like that. So let's move on to clarity, right? Clarity is always going to be better than complexity, right? And by convert, I mean it's always going to get more people to basically become a booked appointment rather than just visit the website and leave. People should not need detective skills to understand what you do or how to book you. So for me, this is like one of the fastest upgrades that most businesses can make, right? Now I know that we got some really great initial headlines on the websites already, which is awesome. I know we also didn't get answers from everybody. That's all right. But I'm going to tell you, like, stop leading with welcome, right? Think about changing some of this website copy to lead with the outcome, right? Emotional pet parents are super emotional, right? They think with one side of their brain and they don't think with the logical side of the brain. So if you can direct them to this emotional result, wrap in some convenience and a trust signal, specificity does create some confidence as well, right? So the after here, I've got stress-free grooming for Austin dogs. I put Austin dogs in there so that it's got some search engine value. So it's going to help you show up a little bit better for terms like dog grooming in Austin. That's beneficial. And then booked in under 60 seconds, right? So if you have a super smooth booking process and a super smooth way to, take a customer from A to B, then that sounds awesome, right? That sounds like a really seamless, painless process. And again, we have to remember the modern pet parent, they want fast, they want convenient, they want pain-free. They want this to be the smoothest thing, the last thing that they have to worry about in their life, right? So we have to give that to them. Clear messaging helps you gain customers' trust. It also helps you gain Google's trust, and it also helps AIs trust you too, right? I think a lot of websites try to sound maybe a little too cute. I think that's pretty common actually in the pet industry, but you end up sounding sort of vague, maybe not putting yourself in your customer's shoes, and that can erode some of the trust. Clear messaging completely removes uncertainty. So going back to some of those principles, right? People should really quickly understand what you do, who you do it for, what makes you different, and crucially, they have to know what they should do next. So the clearer your messaging is, the faster people feel confident. And like I said, it also helps Google, it helps AI tools, and it also helps other search platforms understand what the business does and how to position you in front of the right people. Confusion and clunkiness absolutely kills your bookings, right? Every extra tap, every extra question, every extra moment of confusion, it just creates another opportunity for somebody to leave. And for a lot of pet businesses, the issue, I think, is that they don't know how to utilize the tools to get the visibility that they need to fix this. We're going to fix that today. So this is where a lot of bookings die, right? People don't want to fill out a health insurance application to get a grooming appointment, right? The faster the path feels, the smoother it feels, the safer it feels, right? So again, we have to make it extremely simple, extremely straightforward, and keep it in mind as to how this is presenting your business to a customer that essentially has never had real contact with you. It's only based on the things that they've heard or seen or read about online.
I completely agree with you, Matt, about why the booking experience should be as convenient as possible. You know, pet parents, they want to book at a time that works for them, quickly see availability, and complete everything without needing that back and forth messaging. So, when you're using Mogo's online booking feature, pet parents can book at any time and they can check the available staff members or even their preferred groomers availability, which you can see in the GIF. And then additional steps, if your business requires it, you're also able to ask them to upload vaccination records and put their card on file all in one process. So this is convenient for the pet parents, but also for your business. This could also help reduce no-shows because of the card on file or deposit too.
So what Mogo really does is help customers take that next step and build on the trust that you've already built through the website, right? The last thing I'll say about this is that price uncertainty definitely causes friction as well, right? And look, I'm not saying that every business needs exact pricing for every single scenario. I know it is difficult to put that out there, especially when, there's nail trim add-ons or blueberry facials, and it also depends on the breed and the weight. Some services are customized, some pets are difficult. I get it. What modern customers want, though, is they still want some clarity, right? So price ranges help, starting prices help, package examples help. When people can't find pricing, they wonder, am I wasting my time? Is this going to be more expensive than I want it to be? Do I need to call? Oh my goodness, I really can't. I absolutely refuse to call. And every unanswered question creates hesitation. And that's the opposite of what they want, right? So pricing transparency is important because confused visitors do not book with you. They absolutely leave, and you would never know that they were there. So your homepage should act like a really good lobby, right? A great lobby, it makes people feel confident when they enter. It creates calm. It makes the next step super obvious. It reduces uncertainty. And I have to stress this as well. The modern customer doesn't want more interactions, right? They want more convenience and they want more confidence. So the website has to show and tell them what to do. It's got to make it easy, and then let the online booking process sort of take care of the rest. Because convenience is the new credibility, right? This is what the modern pet parent expects. And again, this is not because they're demanding, right? They just expect it because that is now normal everywhere else, right? They expect to be able to book something in seconds because it's kind of what they're trained to do at this point, whether it is with Uber or with Resy or OpenTable or whatever it is, instantaneous is available elsewhere and they expect it. So what I'm going to tell you guys though is by making improvements to your website, you can do more with what you've already got, right? You don't necessarily need more website visitors. I'm not here recommending you drop $1,000 on Google Ads, right? I think you just need to provide a website experience that turns more website visitors into paying customers. So doing some of the math really quickly. If we raise your website's conversion rate by just 2%, that can absolutely turn around like an entire year. So let's say you've got 10,000 visitors to the website before, you're only booking at 0.5% though, right? That's going to end up at $5,000 in revenue. Same scenario, after we improve the website, you've got 10,000 visitors to the website. If you book 2.5% of them, that's 25,000 in revenue. And that's why these small improvements matter so much more than people think. So to reiterate, if your homepage can't answer these 5 questions really quickly, bookings become more difficult, and it's as simple as that. Who is this for? What problem does it solve? Why should they trust you? What is the next step? And how quickly can they take it? These are those 4 pillars that your online presence and especially your website have to stand on, right? Today's pet parents, they're emotional. They definitely won't do business if they can't trust you. A confused customer never converts. A slow website with friction in the booking process will make even a loyal customer question why they keep doing business with you. And crucially, if a local competitor has a more convenient or an easier booking process than you, that is a huge problem. These are the bare minimums for the modern pet parent, right? So we're going to dig into a few examples from the real world, and then I'm going to share some tools and resources with you guys to start implementing these changes so you can start to improve your websites and get even more paying customers. So I'm going to pull this website up really quickly. You guys can see this website, Ivy, right?
Yep, I can see
Yep.
it.
Awesome. So now I know what maybe you guys are thinking, hey, this is actually a retail website. They're not just a salon owner. They're not just a mobile groomer or a boarding daycare. Okay, fine, but my immediate kind of issue with this website right now is we've got some serious clutter going on. We've got no clarity in the messaging. I mean, where do I really start? You should see the mobile version as well. Beyond that, there's no real mention of any grooming on this homepage, right? So I really have to go hunting if I want to book this business. So let's say I go to the grooming page. So even here on mobile, I noticed that these buttons over here on the left, they're sitting on top of this button, so it causes a bit of a UI issue. But beyond that, I mean, this is missing almost every single trust building thing that you could have. It has no testimonials, no pictures of dogs that they've groomed. It has no pictures of humans that work there. It's completely barren, I would say. So there is a lot to improve here. Now, what they do have is this online booking, which is nice. But then even here, it takes me to a different page. And then this is kind of clunky, I will say. So, you know, the way that it loads here, it's not like this full screen field. It's kind of difficult to scroll up and down in it. There's a lot to be improved here. One more example of an area to improve. I'm going to pull in Pride and Grooming. So now there's actually some stuff that I do like about this website. This is the homepage, right? It's not very big. It's just got welcome, about grad gallery. If Pride and Grooming is in here, I'm so sorry. I'll be gentle, I promise. But this is what we call above the fold, this area. So this whole screen that you can see before you have to scroll at all is what we consider above the fold. There's nothing really above the folds. This is prime real estate, right? Modern Pet Parent is going to give us 3 seconds of time. And this is most of it. They're not able to gather anything about this business. So as we scroll down, we have what looks like a stock image. This parallax image is okay, but also it's a little overly zoomed in. Again, another stock image. We do have some photos of happy customers and their work, but I'll be honest, like this, like I can't click on these. They look a little low resolution. I don't know that they're showing this groomer's best work. And then let's say I do want to book. It seems like I have to call or email. And that's it. And Modern Pet Parent looks at this. They were gone 2 minutes ago. Promise you on that. So let's look at a couple websites that we do like here. I'm going to pull this one in. So we've got America's Paw Spa. So immediately we've got some super helpful information, right? I understand that they're a mobile dog grooming service. They serve Dallas and Fort Worth. They allow texting. You can book here, you can book here, or you can contact if you have questions. If I go down here, I got pricing by service, additional services with additional pricing, a package, more about the business. They come to you, some positive reviews from their customers. So honestly, as a landing page, this is pretty solid, I have to say. It is certainly better than something like this, where again, the difference between what you get just from looking and not scrolling at all between these two is significant. So let's look at one more here. So I've got this NYC location. Similar, right? So you've got a nice book now button, right? New York City's most trusted dog daycare. Google reviews ported directly into it. It's a little big, it's a little clunky for me, but I know that it's legit. You know, it's a little bit different than just writing something down here for reviews. Like I can tell that it's actually on Google, so these are real people, right? Top 5 reasons to choose us. So this tells you a lot more about what's going on in the business and what differentiates them. The services that they offer, booking links directly into it, and some expert information and their socials. So a lot more better information, a lot more trust building information here that, you know, is going to appeal to the modern pet parent. So hopefully people's brains aren't overloading. This might be a ton of information. That is a good thing. We're going to lean into that. So ultimately, what I say is, you know, what's the point in being in this webinar if you're not going to do something in the problems you've uncovered? So I have a quick question for you guys. As we dig into some of these tools about how to look at the data and how to improve your website from a database perspective, I got a question. How many of you guys already have Google Analytics installed on your website? Drop a me or an emoji in the chat if you do. If you have Google Analytics installed on your website. Shanna's has it. That's fantastic. Who else? Who's got Google Analytics installed on the website? If it's nobody else, don't be shy. You can also say not me. Got it through GoDaddy. That's good to know. So it sounds like a few people already have this, which is good. Anyone else want to use the chat function today? That's okay. So fair, Amber, and I appreciate you saying that because my next question was, when you open up Google Analytics, how many of you guys actually understand what you're looking at in there? And if you say a me or you drop an emoji in the chat, yeah, it's difficult. It is super overwhelming if you're not familiar with it. There is a ton of information in there that most people, they end up ignoring it completely. And honestly, I'm kind of one of those people too sometimes. It's insane in there. There's 10,000 things to look at and click around on and measure. The good news is, though, that you don't need to understand everything in there. At its core, this is a tool that just answers a few simple questions. And so you should focus on these 4 things, right? It's how people find your website. It's so that you can see what pages on your website that people visit the most. That might be a pricing page, that might be a services page, that might be an About Me page. You can see where people leave or where they basically how they get stuck. That's number 3. And number 4 is you can see what leads to more bookings, right? What helps turn visitors into revenue and booked services. That's really it, right? You're basically just trying to figure out where are people getting stuck before they book. Once you know that, you can start fixing it. So Google Analytics can tell you how to do this. Don't worry. We're not going to spend the next hour talking about Google Analytics, but I'm going to give you a tool that's going to help speed this up for you.
Yes, so on the topic of Google Analytics, if you guys didn't know and you're currently using Mogo, we actually integrate those 2 softwares together. So if you're using Mogo for our online booking page, you can actually track on Google Analytics what your visitors' behavior is like and when they drop off on each question of the booking page. So and you can see in the graphic that and the last step is like when people start to like slowly hop off like each way. And then that can give you some insight of how maybe you can tailor your questions, maybe decrease the amount of questions, and overall just improve conversion over time.
One of the other things I really like about the integration between analytics and Mogo is how you can track what your most successful marketing efforts are. So you can get a clearer picture of how people discover you and how people book you, whether that is through social media or paid advertising or mailers or search engine optimization or TV advertising, whatever it is that you do. Google Analytics can help you understand which one is actually effective and where you're getting the most return on investment from your marketing dollars. This is where things get really eye-opening. It gets a little bit crazy. So Microsoft Clarity is a free tool that can tell you, it can give you like exact replays of user behavior on your website. So that's like where they stop scrolling, what they notice, what they don't notice, where they leave, where they abandon things, and lots more. And if you feel like this is kind of insane, kind of invasive, you're right, this is a free tool. It's been around for a while as well. So welcome to the world of digital marketing, right? Your customers are telling you what's broken with this tool. You just have to watch. So we know that people associate speed with professionalism, right? Google has this tool called Page Speed Insights. It is another free tool that it will literally provide you with a to-do list of items to improve the speed of your website and how it performs. Again, free tool helps you analyze your website's performance. It gives you a nice little actionable to-do list. These scores are super easy to break down, and ultimately, it just tests your website's speed and performance. So here's what I want you guys to do, because it is going to take some time if you really want to learn, all the ins and outs of being a developer and become an expert at technical SEO and understand all the nuances of Google Analytics, to look at, 1,000 different visitors replays on the website with Microsoft Clarity. Don't do all that. Don't spend all of that time, right? I want you to leverage AI to collapse time, right? You can use AI to analyze behavior data and connect some of these previously disconnected data sources. One of my favorite things to do with Claude and ChatGPT is to tell it to explain its findings to me at a sixth grade level. Otherwise, you get this crazy consultant soup that doesn't actually mean a whole lot and is too difficult to sift through. So the way that I use something like Claude is I connect site recordings from Microsoft Clarity, I connect site data from Google Analytics, I connect page speed insights, and it generates a ton of information about what's going on my website. And not by me, right? It's all done by users that are already on your website. So that's what I mean. Your users, the people that visit your website, they are already telling you what's broken, what makes sense, what to do more of, what to stop doing, what to change, what to fix. All of that data is available for you. All of it is accessible through these free tools. You just have to have something that can kind of analyze all of that together, and AI is a really good way to do it. So here are 10 fast wins as we get closer to wrapping up here. 10 things that you guys can do this week. Number one, lead with outcome, right? Nobody wakes up hoping to experience a full service grooming environment. I think they want to experience something that is stress-free for their pet and is extremely easy for them to manage. Make sure there's one clear booking button at the top. Don't make people choose between 6 options right away. I really recommend showing some price ranges because hidden pricing creates anxiety, and anxious customers are no good. They certainly don't need more of it. Real photos are going to beat stock photos every single time. Get into the habit of taking photos. Faces convert, especially yours. So make sure that you are getting a 30-second intro video on there. I absolutely firmly believe that we have to humanize our business, and that means that you guys cannot be camera shy. Number 6, if you can't book on a phone for today's customer, it basically doesn't exist. You might as well not be in business. So you have to be able to book on a phone. Make sure that you're displaying some real reviews, right? Specific reviews, especially with photos, before and after photos. This is going to be, generic sounding praise, every day of the week. Number 8, address some of your customers' fears and issues directly, right? I think being super transparent and being direct is an indicator of trust and confidence, right? So if you're a fear-free grooming salon, make sure that your customers know that, right? Answer these questions about anxious pets or reactive dogs, or, they might have arthritis, so you have to be gentle with them. Make sure you're addressing that directly. You absolutely have to speed up the page. I highly recommend going to Page Speed Insights, throwing the results into ChatGPT or Claude, and seeing what recommendations it creates for you. Speed matters way more than most people realize. And then the last one, number 10, is you have to confirm instantly, right? So a lead doesn't turn to an actual booking until the confirmation happens. And so this is where I think website and operations connect, right? I think we talked about this almost an hour ago, but a website alone doesn't book, right? It helps to reinforce trust. A booking system creates the booking.
Absolutely. Like everything we talked about today really comes down to one thing, which is creating a smooth experience from discovery to booking. Because even if your website's optimized and bringing in traffic, the client experience still matters after someone decides to book. And that's where having the right software can make a huge difference. Matt, if you can go to the next slide. So this is where I want to talk about how you probably already did the hard part of converting those website visitors to booked appointments, and now you have to make sure that they actually come to your salon or facility for their appointment and keep coming back. So with Mogo, businesses can offer features like easy online booking, instant confirmation, and automated reminders. You can also use card on file or deposit requirements to reduce no-shows and make paying easier. We also have ongoing records so that you will see the most updated pet history for each client. And there's also that two-way communication and messaging so you can always keep in touch with your clients. And all of these things work together to create a smoother experience, not only for your clients, but also for your team behind the scenes.
One of the reasons we have so many of our clients on Mogo is because it's like silent partner in your business, except better, right? It just kind of quietly goes about its tasks and it makes your job and your life way easier, right? It saves you time every single booking. Save time is gold for pet business owners right now. So I would love to hear from the people in the chat, right? If you have one thing that you're going to improve this week, I would love to share. I would love to hear that, right? These small changes, they compound really, really quickly. So please drop one thing in the chat right now that you guys are committed to improving this week when it comes to your website. Just one thing. Just one thing. It could be adding reviews. It could be swapping out stock photos. It could be rewriting the headlines. It could be improving the space above the fold. It could be unclunkifying the booking process. Page Insights, I love that one. Maybe it's installing Microsoft Clarity. Love that too. Awesome. Highly, highly recommend it. It's probably going to blow your mind because it still blows my mind as well. Add Book Now to the homepage, make it super easy for clients. Guys, these are all winners. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So this is what we covered today, right? It's not just websites. We covered some of the modern pet parents' expectations, trust and convenience and adaptation and the customer experience. That is a lot of today's conversation, I think. Then we got a little bit into the weeds, right? We know that trust is gained and lost really quickly from a variety of different sources. Once they get to your website, we have to do the rest of the job. We have to make it really clear. We have to make it really easy. We have to make it really smooth. And if we can be the most convenient option in the market, if we can be the most convenient service, we are going to be successful. Promise you on that. Appreciate you guys being here today, tonight, whatever it is for you guys. These are really a lot of the conversations that are happening across the industry right now. How do we collapse time? How do we connect data sources? How do we recapture market share? How do we make enough money to pay the bills, right? Whether it's customer behavior or improving convenience or building trust or systems or AI or retention, growth for the modern pet parent, whatever it is, pet businesses today are operating in a way more complex environment than they were even 5 years ago, even during COVID. And growth feels much more difficult than it used to. I know because I am in it as well. I've got clients that are feeling the same way. That is why, is a huge part of the reason why we built the Pin Growth Summit. The Pin Growth Summit is a 2-day virtual conference happening June 1st and 2nd. If today's webinar resonated with you, that is absolutely a room to be in. I'm going to be joined by 13 other experts from the pet industry that are working on solving today's growth challenges for pet businesses. You can get tickets at pinsummit.com. I absolutely recommend you guys check it out one way or another. I'm going to put that link into the chat for you. And you guys have questions, challenges, website frustrations, booking flow issues, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm happy to go until the questions stop. And seems like we got a couple. Ivy, do you want me to run through them or you?
I can just let you know which ones have came in. So Rebecca said, do you think the prices need to be on the first landing page or another page / link to that page is fine?
My gut says both. You might not, like if your pricing is extremely complicated, and I know, again, sometimes that happens, right? That could be daycare, that could be boarding, that could be grooming. You might have tons of different prices for all sorts of different dog breeds. I've seen a pricing page that is like 3 or 4 pages long. So I totally get it. I would start with kind of your broader messaging on the homepage. So start with price ranges. And if you need specifics, have a pricing page as well. But you can see in the example that I showed you, a lot of that information was like pretty nicely laid out. They didn't necessarily have to go into a ton of specifics on the homepage. And that is normally enough information to get people to decide, okay, is this within my price range or not? And that's the biggest thing, right? You have to help them overcome that hurdle. And you absolutely can't hide it because they don't want to call, they don't want to email, they don't want to wait, you got to help move them along this flow. Great question, though. Great question.
We also had another question from Hector. They asked, can you take a look at my website?
Oh, I would love to. Let's see what we got. Thank you for Hector, thank you for being so brave. Feel confident in the best for your pet's well-being. Book your groom. Services. About us. Recent work. These are adorable from the portfolio.
They're so cute.
Why us? Book your groom. Okay. Hector, thank you so much for being brave. Look, sometimes hearing your website has some problems might sting a little bit. I get that, Me personally, I would rather have an honest partner on my team rather than one that tells me everything's perfect, especially if it means that revenue and sales are quietly leaking out the back door. We really don't want that. So this is a nice tagline, but something about SEO is that your H1, which is your heading 1, which is normally like the biggest text on the page, it has a lot of weight when it comes to search engine optimization. And so I strive more for clarity and simplicity rather than a tagline there, unless it achieves both. So what I mean is my specific feedback for this would be like you have to find a way to work your main services into this tagline. And it seems like that's grooming, right? This is good, it's idealistic, but it's not really telling Google a ton about what you do or what users do on this website. And that is going to hurt your business much more than having a good tagline is going to help your business, if that makes sense. So I would really try and work in like even just the phrase like dog grooming into that. And if you can't, then maybe this is just like an eyebrow text or like a subheading. But I want to know a little bit more about like where this happens, right? Who it happens for, who does it, what the service is. So like it kind of takes me a little while for me to see where you're located. There we are, Georgia, right? But maybe it's as simple as like, and I'm completely brainstorming right now, but helping Kennesaw pet parents feel confident in their dog's grooming salon. That's way too wordy, right? But it fits a lot of kind of what you are, I think, trying to say here and also hits some of those SEO bubbles. The other thing I would say is you've got a stock photo here, even though these are way better photos. Lean into these. Lean into these. I would remove this stock photo. This is a little big, and I would replace this thing for sure. I absolutely would. Like, there's no reason to be sitting on awesome photos like this and not use them prominently. The booking button here is good, but it might not hurt to give people a little bit more information, right? Pricing, maybe hours, location, stuff like that. Beyond that, the only other thing I would think you're missing is probably social proof. And by that I mean reviews or testimonials or videos of happy customers or things like that. So I think if you to really focus on three things, I would try and rework this headline a little bit. I would swap out the stock photos and I would add some kind of testimonial or review to this. I think as well as pricing, that makes it a much more powerful and much higher converting page. It seems like we got one more. Hector, I really hope that helped. I appreciate you for being daring. We have Adrian as well. Adrian wants a quick teardown as well. So we've got As the Fur Flies Austin, dog and cat grooming, fear-free salon, now serving North Austin and South Austin. So first thing that I see, it is clear to me what you do, right? Dog and cat grooming, fear-free salon makes plenty of sense to like you and I. We're in the industry. I understand what a fear-free certification is. If I am not in the industry, if I am just a modern pet parent, I might not know what fear-free certification is. This might just sound like marketing to me. Like it might not mean anything. So we have to explain that a little bit more. That's not the biggest issue though, right now. To me, the biggest issue is that one, nobody's going to read this. It's a little bit too long. And two, nobody wants to pull up the page and be greeted with a wall of text. So this is way too big and it is not in the right spot. So if this was like up here on the left or up here on the right, and then some of this copy was like they split the screen there, that would condense that space significantly more. You're missing a button, a booking button, or any type of call to action. So by that, I mean, however people book with you, they have to hunt for it. It is not easy right now. So I'm going to keep scrolling down. So we've got fear free here, but again, they don't necessarily know what that is. Otherwise, Adrian, I'm going to tell you, this needs some work. This absolutely needs some work. So you've got some buttons here, which is great. You do cats as well. You've got pricing and services. So all of this is accessible. It's just a click away, right? So like this home page, if you just give like a little bit of information about, so this goes to Mogo. So you've got these Mogo buttons here. You even allow texting. The issue is that you're making me hunt for it. Pricing and services. Again, with the wall of text, I think we can improve some design here. And say that you offer a starting price, but I don't actually see any dollar signs here. So you're not really giving me a ton of information at all. In fact, at this point, I'm probably so frustrated with how it looks and the information it doesn't give me that I don't think I can trust you with my dog. And I'm sorry to say that. The good thing is you have a lot going for you. You have a lot of this information. You just need to redesign it a little bit, right? Like you've got photos of people, which is great. You've got humanization here. You've got all sorts of people with real photos. It's just if people, land on it, they're not going to find you, right? Or they're not going to see anything. They're not going to see any of that because they're not encouraged. They're not guided to go explore it anyways. Let's see if you show up here. So you show up first, which is absolutely incredible. But again, this position, showing up first, is absolutely coveted. When people show up first on Google, that's like automatically building in some trust. People are like, oh, Google trusts this business. I should probably trust this business. And so I'm like, okay, you've got awesome reviews. You got a book now button. You show up early on this. Amazing. But then I get here and I'm like, seriously? How does that business operate with this website? That's really the disconnect that I'm experiencing right now. So if I were to drill this down into the three highest priorities, you absolutely have to maximize this space and utilize it in a better way. You need a book now button here, and you just need to kind of simplify what's going on. That's part one. Part two is this homepage. You just need to bring like snippets from these other pages into there. You need, like I said, you need the booking button. You should put some photos of your team on there just so that it humanizes the business. You should put a price range on there. You should put some of these testimonials on there. And you should also use some photos from the 228 positive reviews that you guys have had. So all of this is available to you. You just got to display it a little bit better. We got
You
more.
are so popular. We have so many more people wanting your insight on their website.
Furbay. Here we go, Furbay from Shannis. We are only a few weeks in and working on actual photos and social proof. It's been challenging to get people to take the time to do Google reviews, even though we know they liked the service. Yeah, it can be super difficult to get people to leave a review. Did you know that people are 34 times more likely to leave a review if they are asked in person rather than like digitally? So sometimes it is important to have that kind of like the digital automated follow-up. I'm not discounting that because those are going to like scrape some in here and there. But if you make it available at the register, like with a QR code or um, something like that, like again, same kind of principles apply here. Like you have to make it super easy and super convenient for them. If they are on a rush out of their way from picking up their dog and you ask them, that's the wrong time to ask them, right? But if they are picking up their dog, they're not clearly in a rush, they are absolutely gushing over the quality of the service, that is the right time to ask. But then you have to make it super easy for them. I like designing a business card with a QR code on it and saying, hey, Mrs. Smith, I'm so glad you love the way that Lucy looks today. We would be delighted if you would take a photo of her and give us a review. It really means the world to us, and it helps small businesses a ton when we get reviews. Take this card. It's just a QR code right there. Can you please, would you mind doing that for us? Miss Smith is going to be like, oh, yes, absolutely. Take a picture of Lucy, put it on there. Fantastic. Everybody wins. But if you don't make it super easy and then continue to guide them and tell them what to do, they're going to go back to their life where they're scrolling, they're cooking dinner, they're trying to do something else. They're doing 100 different things, and that review is just going to get forgotten. Okay, onto the website. Makes sense. Intriguing. This is interesting. Love having this video. I'm going to watch this later. Real photos of the salon. Love that too. Nice animation. Packages. Nice behavior here too. Lots of SEO happiness here. Menu. Services. Pricing. Request appointment. Request a quote. That's probably on my end rather than Mogo. Yeah, here we go. I think your website is beautiful. I think it's awesome. What I think is maybe somewhat qualified, but the best thing to the best thing to do is to still look at the data, right? If just because I think it's beautiful and awesome doesn't necessarily mean that your customers do. And the information in the data on clarity and on analytics and basically everything that goes into like the behind the scenes of the website, that's going to tell you a lot more about where people are falling off anyways. I would say, honestly, I feel like, and this is probably on purpose, like request appointment is very different from book now. It implies that you might not get it. So, and maybe that's on purpose, maybe that is you not wanting to take on every single client, and that is fine, and I totally understand it. But it's an interesting it's an interesting call to action. Otherwise, I think you've done an excellent job with the website. I think it looks really good. It sounds good. Probably the only thing missing, I would say, is real photos rather than stock. Even this one back here, I can't tell that it's you guys rather than a stock photo. Whereas this stuff, I absolutely can. And clearly, you've gotten some professional photography done. So I would lean into it. That's probably the only advice that I have between that and like surfacing some real reviews. Maybe you just want like a plugin or like an app that shows reviews. They exist, you know, like this one. This is by Bird Eye, which is a software company. There's also another one called, I think it's Local Impact. Yeah, so like you can show reviews on your website. So look into that. That's what I got for you. Who else do we got? Do we still have time? I can't believe people are still on here. I love
I
it.
know. Let's do one more. We have
All
one
right.
from Amber, and this could be our last website to look at.
All right. We're going to happypetspalace.com. Hector says we have a photo booth where we take photos after the groom. I can tell. That is awesome. Then we text it to our clients and a link to leave a review. That's helped us a lot. Hector, that's an awesome idea. I'm going to steal that from my clients, honestly. I'm absolutely stealing that. Okay, we've got Happy Pets Palace. 2 locations. Cool. You are in Arizona. I know a little bit about these locations. Cool. I'm going to try the booking button first. Goes straight to Mogo. I'm familiar with the Mogo landing page. Live stream the dog cams, but it's not a button. So this is just a feature of what you do. I would say this is like, this could probably be modernized and cleaned up a little bit, Like I just think you can fit more critical information in this space above the fold. Maybe you're just focusing on boarding, but it seems like you have a lot of different services. And I'll also tell you this thing, which is just an image sitting on top of an image. Google doesn't love that. Google likes text that it can scan and read really quickly and easily. One of the other reasons for that is people that have visual impairments, they use screen readers, and screen readers really struggle with something like this, where you have like an image on top of an image. Screen readers are much better at reading what's on the screen. So if I were you, I might think like I might size these 4 things down a little bit and like literally swap them. Like I would put these up top instead of this thing up top. I feel like your live stream dog cams, like I think that's a feature. It's not like your selling point. Maybe I'm wrong. I just learned about your business, but in general, I think other than that, you have some good stuff going on, right? Like you've got some non-stock photos. Like I said, I do think this area can really be improved. I think you need to put reviews on here and build more trust. Again, I'm going to go on about pricing. I think pricing and price ranges, something should be on there. But yeah, I know about boarding and daycare. I know that it gets kind of complicated. And I know that it's also based on like sometimes the type of room as well. So I think for you, like when you offer a bunch of different things, like a price range would help. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Otherwise, the last thing I would say about this is it's kind of sparse. It feels a little text heavy. It feels like it doesn't quite give me enough information. This This is awesome. This thing is 6 consecutive years, but I have to go hunting for this. Like I have to dig into it. This is what I would lead with. Like I would ignore this top rated on Google part, but I would put like voted best pet boarding services in Mesa, AZ for 6 straight years. I would have that like right here, top left, front and center. That's what I would lead with. And then the rest of this homepage, like I said, pricing, I think a little section that's like about us, testimonials, this and that, lead people on to learn a little bit more about various services and whatnot. Maybe tell people what the booking process is like, because like clearly you have like a new client thing and a sign up thing. So there is a process, right? So you need some pre-requirements, but these also make people feel safe when they know about it. So, letting people know that everybody at the facility or every pet at the facility has a rabies vaccination. It's required. Border is optional. Records are required by a licensed vet. Like all of this stuff helps build trust and create the impression of safety and confidence for today's, customer. Last thing is this is in your navigation. This should be like right here. It should be right there. Because again, when I open this up on mobile, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to see a little like hamburger icon in the top right. I'm not going to see right away book now. And if I have to go hunting into that hamburger icon, remember what we said, every extra tap, every extra second, every extra movement, like moment or movement, it's an opportunity for them to go elsewhere. And maybe that sounds critical, but I promise like this is what you're up against, like the standard right now is I can book somebody to drop off anything at my house from anywhere in the city and it'll be here in like 20 minutes. That's insane. That's insane. I can do that with DoorDash. That's crazy. Like that level of convenience that simply didn't exist when I was a kid. That's what people are used to right now. So if you make them hunt, if you make it more difficult for them, it just creates resentment and friction and they don't want to deal with it. So I think that's all I got for you guys. Go fix one thing, hopefully before the day ends. I know it's a little late on the East Coast, but momentum matters more than perfection. Check us out at Pet Engine Marketing. Check us out at the Pet Industry Network and the PIN Growth Summit. This is really just scraping the surface of what you can learn at the PIN Growth Summit. But thanks, guys, for showing up, and I will catch you next time.
Thanks, Matt, for hopping on our webinar. And for everyone interested, you guys can also find Mogo on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok. And we'll upload the recording of this webinar on our YouTube channel, as well as turning it into a podcast on Spotify and Apple, in case any of you guys want to revisit any of the information that Matt shared with us today.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me, Ivy, and Team Mogo. Big fan. Appreciate y'all.
Okay, bye everyone.
Team Millennial, let's go, Amber.
Moco